In this video, I answer to your 7 common questions. Here we are for the second episode of our section Answer and Questions. I've again collected all your common answers about the golden tire word, the tire word. And now we will go to try to answer. Let's go. Okay, let's go. Why are your size different from the other brands? Yes, this is a good question because there is not a rule that fits exactly how have to be large the tire. Yeah, for sure, 140 must be 140, but the measurement of the tire can be made in different points. So there is not a certain rule or system to measure the tire. So the best solution is to try to find what works better for you. Second question, how long will I get out of my mousse? Oh yes, this is, can be, we have to explain a little more about this because I've already spoke about this argument in my previous video. So the first rule you have to take for your mousse, for the respect and the life of your mousse, it's to dismount every 25-30 hours, check and clean, and storage in the black bag for a couple of days before to remount on the mousse. But we have also to consider other points. In fact, the life of your mousse, it depends how you treat the mousse. So that's the point. Because if you leave the mousse inside the tire for months and months for riding in off-road on asphalt or go on, the mousse can also last. The life of the mousse can be very short. You have to take care about the mousse because it's very important. The problem is overheating. If there is some dust or some dirt inside between the tires and mousse, that can be really like a knife inside the tires that cut the mousse. You can destroy also the mousse in 1 hour. For example, if you ride on tarmac full throttle all the time. You have to take care about that, and the mousse will give you back a lot of benefit. But we have also to speak about the life of the tires, because the life of the tire depends, even for the mousse, about how you treat the tire, how you use the tire, because you have to take, there are a lot of factors that can give you better lasting and better performance. For example, the factors can be the bike that you use, the rider, the luggage, terrain, how fast you ride, if you drag the brake, if you spin the tire too much. There is no set length for any tire in this case. So golden tire products are a little different. Sometimes there is a lot of difference to the other brands. That are available to the public in regards to the quality of material used and structured design. This is the point, because the knobs, the thread you see is only one part of what provides to the grip. Every part of the tire is designed to work together to give much grip as possible. This means even when the knobs are worn down, the performance of the tire is still very, very high. This is why golden tire is different. Buy a golden tire if it's something like to feeling like a pro or like a factory rider, because we bring to our friends and users the best material we can produce. We don't make any difference between factory riders or private riders, because normally the other brands use very high products with very high quality of raw material only for the factory ride. This can make a big difference. And when I arrive on the market, they produce not cheap tire, but something more like a mass production, you know. As you probably know, I was a former rider in 90s and I rode with many brands, and I was a factory rider. And trust me, in that time there was a big difference, a big gap between factory products and normal production products. Probably this is also the reason why I decided to start this challenge with the Golden Tire. And it was like my first mission to bring to everybody the best product, to feel like a pro. And this is the point. If you use Golden Tire, you are treated like a pro rider, a factory rider. Okay, now we go with the third question. This question is very common. Why does the 80-121 have 90-90-21 on the sidewall? This is to show the 80-121 as the same rolling diameter of the 90-90-21. And the bike speedo will be riding correctly. But the main reason is in some countries, in some areas, especially in Europe, you must have the same size on the tires like is indicated in the paper of the motorcycle from the factory. Differently, it's not strictly legal. So, number 4, are your tires DOT approved? The answer is easy, yes, they are. Are DOT approved, and they have E-mark approved, because they respect also the European rules. That is the highest request, because we have to use natural rubber, and there are a lot of procedure to make the approval. And the number 5, why is a KX DOT approved even though it is so soft? Because DOT tests do not only check the compound. They check many parts of the tire. The 516KX is put through DOT testing to ensure every part of the tire is made with the highest quality required for the approval. Okay, we are at the 6th question. When should I choose the KX tires instead of the regular tires? That can sound easy, the question, but it's not. Because the KX tires are designed specifically to win races or to ride in very deep condition. This means if you wanted to use them for a weekend ride, they will not last very long. If there is a special ride you're entering or one particular hill you can not get to the top, then the 516KX can help you. Probably will bring you up to the hill. And in other times, or if you ride for long ride or very fast track, I suggest to use a normal, like the KE for example, because can help you much more, it's more indicated. But if you ride in very deep condition, slippery condition, if you ride in rivers, all extreme condition, in one word, extreme is the right X, it's extreme. So I suggest the KX. Different, move to the KE. Okay, last question. What is the shelf life of a Mousse? I have already explained in my previous videos. I put the link here somewhere. Mousse life is subject from some external factors. But first of all, we must face that I speak for G-Mousse, the Golden Tire Mousse. that use innovative materials and production system, because we have spent a lot of time, first of all, but even a lot of money, to develop a special polymer that it's made as a mousse that can grant the grip, so in terms of rebound especially, and even for the lasting, because this is the difficult challenge with the mousse, have a grip and lasting. So we have also developed a very complicated system of production because it's a very long procedure to produce only one mousse. The difference, I speak about the Mousse because as a brand and many other brands use old concept of system of production and material as injection, the use of rubber powder compressed, or to other cheap solutions that like the use of silicone that make the mousse like a spring, you know, like this. I show you in one video the difference between a good mousse and a cheap one. So G-Mousse is storage in a fresh place, as I told you before, and in the box and in the black bag can last for years. But to be more clear, after 2 years, I want to explain you some tests that we have made. If is well stored, you will see that there are not relevant changes in the size of the mousse. After 2 years, can be that the mousse start to change the size. After 2 years, you can see a little change, but we are speaking in terms of millimeter of the section. The mousse can become a little more smaller, but in the meantime become harder, because the mousse is made like a bubble inside that start to become in this way, and the space of the air becomes smaller, and the feeling of the mousse become a little more harder. But we are speaking of a mousse that it's very old. In that way, we have made a lot of testing. We have a machine that can accelerate the process of the time of the years. So we have some tests after 5 years that the mousse still work very well. What is important is to protect the mousse from the light, because light it's the biggest enemy of our mousse, of our polymer. So the black bag you have to not throw away when you open the box. This is important. And other things, use silicone gel. Do not use other strange things, only silicone gel. So we arrived to the end, and we have other 7 answers to your questions. And now I wait here in the comment or on Facebook or where you prefer. You can send me other questions. I'm ready for the 3rd episode. So, hasta luego, compañeros.